What if saying yes to the wrong favor changed everything? That's the dangerous situation unfolding in General Hospital as Dante makes a secret request that could pull Liz into far more trouble than she realizes. Because this isn't just a harmless favor. It's secretive. It's personal. And it may carry consequences neither of them fully understands yet. Now the real question is, did Dante just put Liz directly in the line of fire? Dante's secret request on General Hospital could put Liz in a dangerous position. In Port Charles, danger rarely announces itself immediately. It often begins quietly, with a conversation, a favor, or a request that seems manageable at first glance. Characters rarely recognize the full consequences of their decisions in the moment they make them. That appears to be exactly what is happening between Dante and Liz. A secret request changes the emotional atmosphere instantly. Secrecy implies risk. It implies hidden stakes, concealed motives, or consequences too serious to discuss openly. And when a character like Dante operates in secrecy, the situation automatically feels more unstable. But the real concern may not be Dante himself. It may be what agreeing to help him could ultimately cost Liz. Dante, a character caught between duty and emotion. Dante Falconeri has always existed between two worlds. One side of him is deeply committed to responsibility, structure, and doing what he believes is right. The other side is emotional, instinctive, and deeply protective of the people he cares about. That tension defines him, and it becomes especially important when secrecy enters the equation. Because Dante does not usually hide things without reason. If he is making a secret request, it likely means he fears outside interference. He believes the stakes are personal, or he is protecting information too sensitive to reveal publicly. Each possibility creates tension immediately. Liz, compassion as vulnerability. Elizabeth Weber has long been one of the emotional anchors of Port Charles. She is compassionate, empathetic, protective, but those strengths also create vulnerability. Because compassionate people often agree to help before fully understanding the consequences. Liz tends to respond emotionally first, and that emotional instinct may place her directly in danger when secrecy becomes involved. Why the word secret changes everything. A normal request creates one type of storyline. A secret request creates another entirely. Secrecy introduces immediate questions. Why can't others know? What is being hidden? Who could be affected? What happens if the secret is exposed? The secrecy itself becomes narrative fuel, because secrets generate instability. The danger may not be immediate. One reason this storyline works is because the danger feels gradual rather than explosive. At first, Liz may not fully recognize the risk. The request could seem manageable, reasonable, even necessary. But in Port Charles, danger often escalates slowly. Small decisions create larger consequences over time, and those consequences tend to emerge when characters least expect them. Dante's motivations matter. Understanding Dante's emotional state is crucial. If he is asking Liz for help secretly, it suggests urgency mixed with trust. He trusts Liz enough to involve her, but that trust may also place unfair pressure on her, because emotional trust can make refusal difficult, especially when the request comes from someone clearly struggling with a difficult situation. The emotional burden of loyalty. One of the strongest themes in this storyline is loyalty. Liz may feel compelled to help because she trusts Dante, she empathizes with him, she believes helping is the right thing to do, but loyalty becomes dangerous when it overrides caution. And in Port Charles, loyalty often leads characters into morally or emotionally complicated situations. The risk of incomplete information. A major concern is whether Liz fully understands what she is agreeing to. Secretive situations often involve incomplete information. If Dante is withholding details, even for protective reasons, Liz may unknowingly place herself in danger. That possibility creates suspense because audiences recognize the imbalance before the character necessarily does. The psychological weight of secrecy. Keeping secrets changes behavior. It creates pressure, stress, emotional isolation. If Liz becomes part of Dante's hidden situation, she may experience anxiety over exposure, emotional conflict, fear of consequences, strain in other relationships. These psychological effects often become as dangerous as the external threat itself. Why Liz is especially vulnerable here. Liz's emotional nature makes her uniquely vulnerable to this kind of storyline. She often prioritizes helping others over protecting herself. That quality makes her admirable, but it also creates risk, because people willing to sacrifice emotionally are often pulled deeper into dangerous situations before realizing how serious things have become. The ripple effect across Port Charles. No secret stays isolated in General Hospital. Eventually, other characters notice inconsistencies. Questions begin to emerge. Trust becomes strained. Once that process begins, the situation escalates quickly, because secrecy affects relationships even before the truth comes out. The possibility of misinterpretation. Another layer of tension comes from perception. Even if Dante's intentions are good, secrecy creates room for misunderstanding. Others may interpret Liz's behavior as suspicious, Dante's actions as manipulative. Their alliance as something more dangerous than intended perception often drives conflict faster than reality. The emotional cost to Liz. The biggest threat may not be physical danger, it may be emotional damage. Liz could face broken trust, emotional guilt, relationship fallout, internal conflict over loyalty versus honesty. These emotional stakes make the storyline feel personal rather than purely dramatic. Dante's internal conflict. Dante likely understands the risk he is creating for Liz. That awareness adds complexity to his actions, because if he truly cares about her well-being, involving her at all becomes emotionally complicated. This creates tension inside Dante himself. He needs help. He trusts Liz. But he may also fear hurting her in the process. That contradiction makes his character more layered. The thin line between protection and exploitation. An important question beneath the storyline is whether Dante is protecting Liz or unintentionally exploiting her loyalty. He may believe involving her is necessary, but necessity does not eliminate consequence, and emotional closeness can sometimes blur ethical boundaries without characters realizing it. The atmosphere of growing risk. The storyline feels effective because the danger is implied rather than fully visible. There is a sense of something building beneath the surface, something unstable, and that atmosphere creates suspense because viewers understand situations built on secrecy rarely remain controlled for long. Why this dynamic works dramatically. Dante and Liz work well in this type of storyline because both characters operate emotionally rather than cynically. Neither is naturally manipulative. Neither enters situations intending harm. That emotional sincerity makes the risk feel more tragic, because good intentions may still lead to devastating consequences. The potential for exposure. Eventually, secrets surface. When they do, exposure may affect personal relationships, professional trust, emotional stability, safety itself. The longer the secret remains hidden, the more pressure builds behind it, and pressure always seeks release. Themes driving the storyline. Several key themes shape this arc. Loyalty versus self-protection. Liz's desire to help may conflict with her own safety. Trust versus transparency. Dante trusts Liz, but secrecy complicates that trust. Protection versus consequence. Even protective intentions can create harm. The narrative power of quiet danger. What makes this storyline compelling is its subtlety. The danger is not immediate chaos, it is gradual entanglement. That slow progression feels realistic because characters often enter dangerous situations incrementally rather than dramatically. And Incremental danger can be more emotionally effective. The emotional complexity of consent. An overlooked but important element is whether Liz can truly make an informed decision without knowing everything. If Dante is withholding information, her agreement becomes emotionally complicated, because trust without transparency creates imbalance, and imbalance creates vulnerability. The future fallout possibility. If the situation spirals, several outcomes become possible. Liz becomes emotionally isolated. Dante faces guilt over involving her. Other characters feel betrayed. External threats escalate. The secret request becomes the starting point for much larger consequences. Why fans respond to storylines? Like this. Viewers connect strongly to stories involving emotional risk because they feel relatable. The core situation is universal. Helping someone you trust without fully understanding the cost. That emotional realism grounds the larger dramatic stakes.